Mayor Liccardo. Thank you, Mayor Liccardo. I have the pleasure of introducing Rabbi Menachem Levine of Temple Am Echad of Willow Glen, and he will do our invocation today.
Thank you to Honorable Mayor Liccardo, the City Council, and in particular to my esteemed Councilmember Pierluigi Oliverio for inviting me to address you today. I have been privileged to give this invocation multiple times over the past few years, and I always prioritize it. The City Council, under the stewardship of the Mayor, is responsible for the more than 1 million citizens who make up this great city. And having the opportunity to share a thought with you and our city leaders is a privilege. Purim is a festive Jewish holiday that is described in the biblical book of Esther. Set in Persia, Iran, 2,300 years ago, the fascinating story recounts a series of seemingly unrelated events that culminate in saving the Jewish people from annihilation. According to the biblical book of Esther, Haman, royal advisor to King Ahasuerus, presupposed to be Xerxes I of Persia, planned to kill all the Jews in the Persian Empire. His evil plans were foiled by Mordecai and his cousin Esther, who rose to be the queen of Persia. That day of divine deliverance became a day of feasting and rejoicing for all time. The last verse of the biblical book of Esther begins. For Mordecai the Jew was viceroy to King Ahasuerus. He was a great man among the Jews and found favor with the multitude of his brothers. At first glance, this verse is mystifying. Mordecai, we are told, found favor with the multitude of his brothers. That is, he found favor with more than 50%, perhaps even a sky-high 75%. Still, a significant minority of the Jews was dissatisfied with his leadership. This is shocking. To put it into perspective, Mordecai just brought about the salvation of the entire Jewish people who were teetering on the edge of annihilation. He and Esther should have been the absolute heroes of every Jew in the empire. Yet, after all of this, Mordecai still has opposition. The lesson for us and for elected officials is self-evident. We live in a society obsessed with public opinion polls. But our leaders need to remember what Winston Churchill once remarked: never confuse leadership with popularity. Recognize that there will always be those who criticize and accept that. What was Mordecai's response to those who were dissatisfied with his leadership? I quote, we look at the second half of the verse of Esther, the book of Esther, when Mordecai says as follows: he, Mordecai, sought the good of his people and spoke with peace to all his posterity. A leader seeks out the good, the welfare for his entire people, and peace for all their descendants. Mordecai certainly read the crosstabs of the polling. He heard about the blog posts and the YouTube videos being spread against him. He knows who his opposition is, but he doesn't act or react. His response is to ignore the often flawed criticism of the minority opposed to him and to continue to do what he thinks will bring about good, plenty, peace, and security to everyone and not just his supporters. In our work, we are all too often so convinced of our own righteousness. Policymakers, politicians, certainly activists, and even ordinary citizens in our own daily lives seek to punish very often those who disagree with us. Mordecai's lesson to leaders is that the best response to antagonists is to ensure good for all who rely upon us, including our antagonists. May you, Honorable Mayor Liccardo and City Council members, be blessed with the wisdom, desire, and ability to serve and lead successfully. May you be blessed with the moral character to make the right decisions for the city as a whole. May you find favor with most, and may you serve all of this great city of San Jose, and may all other blessings follow, and let us say amen.